Milo wakes up eager to explore this area, as it seems to not be as dangerous as the other areas. Out of the shelter, you find the spear again, and take it with you. These labyrinthine pathways are not easy to traverse, and you are slow, but you are in no need to hurry anyway. Coming out, you see vast technical structures, and it all seems to be deteriorated, but still more or less functioning. There is a lot to explore. You look down, and think this jump should be fine, so you leap, and land safely in the water. Swimming further, you also notice while diving that those jellyfish seem to be totally harmless. Because everything is wet and mossy, you keep slipping in this area. It sure will be troublesome at some point with your clumsiness combined. You swim to the end of this gigantic room and see a pole that you can climb up. But at the top, you notice you cannot progress here, so you drop back down. Even though you can now say for certain that there is no imminent danger around here, you still get startled by a jellyfish in the water. You climb up, just to be safe. Milo notices the structure has a lot of narrow pathways and tight crevices to climb through. It makes it easy to climb, but harder to move around freely, and some ways are cumbersome to get to. As you have gained a lot of experience in this short amount of time, you recognize some possible routes, even if they are not as obvious at first glance. A lot of narrow pathways confuse you, and you try to find your way around. It is as if you have to solve a puzzle that determines if you are allowed to continue. Sometimes you halt and feel a bit stumped, while the yellow observer bothers you with some symbols. You crawl backwards and fall a good part down when you were not aware when the drop would come. You find perches again and climb up. This time, another tight pathway to check out. At the end of this pathway, you see it was the right choice to crawl this way, as there is a possibility to get over. You think about it, hop the first few, and lunge the rest over. No imminent danger makes you confident in your acrobatic abilities. Ascending even higher now. You see there are multiple possibilities to traverse even further. You contemplate for a moment and then choose the higher route, because it looks less risky and also provides an option to grab on if you would fall anyway. This gives you more than enough confidence to prove your point about your acrobatics again. Easily, you reach the next test to climb. Here you don't hit your jumps as precise, because the yellow observer keeps distracting you. But as soon as you reach the top part, you prepare again and leap. You barely manage to hold on that strut, but it does not matter if it is barely or not, as long as you do not fall. Balancing over, and a little drop on the other side. A silver pearl right in front of you, but your keen eyes have spotted a golden pearl. Now you only need to find a way to go higher, to find a good point of view. A challenge in itself, and the yellow observer still bothers you with symbols, as if to point out a certain urgency to his exclamations. You can't let yourself be distracted this much, trying to focus at the task at hand, instead of things to consider in future encounters. You get up pretty high, but at the highest point it is too tight for you to leap with full power, so you fall a bit. You need to get up again. On one of the platforms there is another silver pearl, but you already have one. Easily enough, you find your way up again, and with your silver pearl in hand, you consider if the pursuit of the other one would be worthwhile. You consider how much time you have left, and your decision falls on, why not at least try? You try up, not successful. You try a leap, an utter failure, and you drop back down into the water again, since you were too fast to hold on that pole that was there. Well, Milo, with this you lost a lot of progress with one foolish decision. But at least this time, your mistake would not bring you into a position of life-threatening danger. A little pause for your mind map, and you still have not yet eaten. You climb your way up again, quick as you already know the right way to take there. Or so you thought, little Milo. But with a little correction in your pathfinding, you are climbing straight up to the point where you need to be. Knowing your way is one thing. Becoming overconfident in your abilities is another. Hop, hop, hop. Nope, just barely you fall into the water. You almost hit that cube-like structure. Lucky you. That also means you have to climb up all the way again. It is not that difficult, but it takes up time. And meanwhile, the yellow observer is still very persistent in showing you the face, the symbol. Sometimes you climb up the wrong way into these very tight and narrow paths. That also slows you down. And with your next chance you change your orientation, but that is also slowing you down. You are at the point for another try. Again you fail your jump, but do not immediately land in the water. First you strike the structure, and then you roll into the water. That hurt a lot, and you need a moment to come to your senses. So same procedure. Climb, jump, fail. But you are stubborn, and you do not give up. Your curiosity guides you to success. With this repetition, you really know that way now. Therefore, you hurry up, although in the wrong orientation again. Short correction to be faster again. And this time, you make your way up again. Even though up top you almost fell again, you still could hold on in time to not fall all the way. Here you find another spear, and you surely take it with you. You are sure this time. Your leap is on point. And you slowly slide down the correct pole. Through a narrow corner, you come onto another strut, and you balance your way over. Carefully, you tippy-toe over that strut. And finally, you reach the tunnel to get to the next room. And your effort gets rewarded with another shelter to hibernate in. You think of the time, and you know you don't have any more time left. Still, you want to check in the next room for food, since you have not yet eaten enough. But there is nothing for you to eat. So you rather choose to hibernate without food than being hit by the rain. In the shelter, your tummy grumbles and you have difficulty falling asleep. But you force yourself to fall asleep somehow. It will suffice. Although, it is not pleasant. You wake up starving. Now you have the time to explore and look for more food. You go to the next room. Hop into the water. Only to find on the other side a curious-looking blue-colored being sitting on some dry stone, basking in the sun that comes breaking through a crack in the structure. You recognize that being. The yellow observer showed it to you, but you do not know how to interact with it or what to do regardless. You hop around, throw some things around, but it only watches you joyfully without really interacting with you. Above this being, there are some glowing things. What are those? Are they edible? What do they do? Are some of the questions you ask yourself. But you do not get an answer. This being just sits there and watches you with a gentle demeanor. It even lets you push it around without being angry. But you have to keep track of your time, and so you slowly move away again as it watches you leave. Is it lonely, just like you are? As you are leaving this gentle being, your curiosity demands to check out what is underwater, but it seems it is closed off, which explains why there are no creatures roaming around this area. The next thought you have is to reach higher ground, to maybe gather more information about this area, or at least find a vantage point. To no avail, since the possibilities are rather low in number, and your abilities do not suffice to climb up when it is built this tight. Nonetheless, you try time and time again, as if something's calling you upwards. At some point, you finally understand to leave it be. You try if there might be a route under the water, but you almost drown attempting to find one. You decide you need to leave here the way you came from. Your time is slowly running out with all your attempts. Better move on now, Milo. Even though your time is running out, you have no choice but to crawl past the shelter, simply because your hunger guides you. You would not survive another hibernation, starving. Outside, you find some bubble fruit, at least something to feed on. Balancing right above them, and a simple drop to get to them. You have to throw away your spear to hold on to a second fruit. Starvation is a worse fate than anything else right now. You need to grab anything that can prevent that. A spear will not help with it. Again, a very precise drop, and you are at the water to pop the bubble fruit to make it edible. After you ate those, you continue to make your way back. Even though you change up some of the narrow paths a bit, it is not slowing you down much. You had enough practice here to succeed these jumps this time. You go further back and past the shelter, since you still have a little bit time left. In the water you see the jellyfish. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So you try to eat one of them. And indeed, these are edible, and so you grab another one on your way back to the shelter. After eating the jellyfish, you feel barely satisfied enough to hibernate. But this will do this time. The room turns darker as the rain almost reaches you. But you are in safe distance and reach the shelter just in time, not starving anymore. What do you think might happen next?